In continuation with our discussion one with ACEV, let us try to take a look some strategies in Boeing analysis states. So in this particular analysis phase, we are required to come up with the qualitative and quantitative assessments based on several levels. It's like level 1, level 2, and level 3. So for level 1 detail, what is our focus? We focus on the ridge flow. So accordingly, it would also cover the presence of core, delta, scars, classification, and orientation. So let us take a look at this image and we try to look at the ridge flow. So basically, the ridge flow that you would see in here belongs to an arc pattern because the ridges enter and it would have a wave or rise at the center and it would again flow to the other side. So it looks like an arc. What if you happen to see a circuit or circular pattern or circular flow in an image, in a fingerprint? So you would think now that this would fall to the whirl pattern. Because in a whirl, you would see complete circuit, it is in circular motion, whereas for a loop, you would try to take a look at the presence of a looping ridge or what we call recurving ridge. So this is what we call ridge flow, which is being undertaken in level 1 detail to describe a fingerprint. So aside from that, in level 2, we consider the ridge path. Under this level, we give emphasis on the presence of ridge characteristics. Okay, what is the other term about of ridge characteristics? Do you still recall? What is the other term for this? Okay, you might be thinking about minutiae or what we call Galton's detail. Why do we say that it is Galton's detail? Because this was initiated by Francis Galton. So ridge characteristics, you will be thinking about ending ridge, bifurcation. What else do you know about ridge characteristics? Any idea? So it would also come into your mind about the islands, dot ridge, bridge, fragmentary ridge, converging, the diverging ridges, and others. Okay, so let us just consider also in level 2 the location of ridge characteristics. Where is the location of these ridge characteristics? Is it the same with the location that you happen to identify from the question and the standard? Parehas ba yung location ng bifurcation na nakita mo sa question print at saka sa standard print? Parehas ba yung location ng ending ridge na nakita mo sa question at saka sa standard print? So if they have the same location, then you might again be thinking that they are the same. So location matters. So, but if you happen to see a ridge characteristic, for example, bifurcation in the question, but you also have seen in the standard, but the question, hindi sila parehas ng location. So that would also be, again, an idea or basis for you to make a conclusion. Hindi sila parehas because yung location are not the same. Okay, so in ridge characteristics, let us take a look in this. So the red one, they encircle it and they are pointing an ending ridge. Okay, same as true in gold color, they are giving emphasis on the presence of a bifurcation. So what is bifurcation again? If you would remember that there is a single ridge and it will split into 2 or more ridges. So there are also provided the color in here, the blue one, which refers to that ridge. Okay? So aside from these ridges present, there are also broken parts or fragmentary ridges in here. Okay? So with the presence of this color coding that you would see in the image, it would help you to identify what characteristics are these. Okay? So if you happen to see same characteristics from a question print and having the same location with this standard, then you would have an idea or basis that these prints are the same. If you happen to identify 10 reads characteristics in the question, make sure also that you have to identify 10 characteristics in the standard, that you have to give emphasis on their location and the type of characteristics. That is given emphasis in level 2, known as reads path. So for level 3, it would tell us about the reads attributes. So it would focus in here the edge shape, width, and pores. So the white holes in here are the pores, okay? The pore structure, the ridge periphery, and incipient ridges. So when we talk about incipient ridges class, these are the very thin ridges or very thin lines, and these are not considered for ridge counting. Okay? So let us take a look also about the different terminologies in here, just like poroscopy, which is the study of the size, shape, relative position, arrangement, and frequency of sweat pores. Endoscopy, your clue in here is the word edges, okay? So it would try to take a look at the alignment and the shape of their individual ridge units. So radiology is also emphasized, which tells us the uniqueness of all friction ridge skin formations. So meaning in fingerprints, we have to consider the principle of individuality or known as variation or uniqueness. So we have to uh, instill in mind that fingerprints are unique from each other. So in addition, analysis also highlights the assessment for the causes or factors of distortion and their effect upon the latent print is performed. An assessment of the degree of clarity present in the impression is made. So it is very important that the clearness of the fingerprint would help us to make a better analysis. Okay, so clarity of friction reads detail. So the degree of clarity exhibited by the latent print impression determines the level of tolerance that is acceptable to the examiner. The degree of clarity influences the quantity and level of friction reads features required to evaluate for an exclusion or an individualization. So based on this image, it would project good clarity because it is very clear. You can come up with a good observation in here. Whereas in this image, it has poor clarity. Some areas are dark and it is not visible. So it would give you difficulty in coming up with a good analysis. Okay, so what could then be the factor that may affect the clearness of an image or a fingerprint? Let us take a look with the substrate. When we talk about substrate, it is the surface on which the unknown mark was discovered. For example, the glass, the paper surface, or a polythene bag, and other kinds of surfaces. So what could then be the reason why this image has been produced, the surface might have scratches. So that is why it looks like this. Okay, so the surfaces or substrate affects the analysis, especially if it is not uh, good, if it is not a good surface. Why is it that this image had been obtained? Okay, where could they have developed this kind of prints? So if you try to take a close look at this, it is on a styrofoam surface. Okay, what about in here? It might be from a wet surface. That is why there was a build-up of powder in here. Okay, when we talk about matrix, it is the substance that the unknown mark was made by. This may be sweat from the person who left the mark, blood, oil, or any other foreign substance capable of leaving an impression. So when we talk about substrate, your clue in here is surface. In matrix, it is all about the substance. So it might have caused by the developing medium. Okay. So analysis, remember about ridge flow and pattern, and it has something to do with level 1. So with this particular image, it seems that the ridge flow belongs to a world. That is why this space is, the flow is somewhat circular. Okay, so it would probably fall to a whirl pattern. So after analysis, we now proceed with letter C, and that is comparison. Comparison of the unknown to the known. So again, I would try to make it clear that when we talk about unknown prints, it refers to the question prints, and the known prints refers to your standard print. It is done once the fingerprint officer has analyzed the unknown mark and accumulated all the information possible. It is then compared